In 2010, there was an open letter in the Wall Street Journal by a lot of distinguished people who both academics and hedge fund guys, and that wrote that doing QE policies will create hyperinflation, destabilize everything, so lose money print, and it will create debt issues, financial asset, inflation, and all that good stuff. It will destabilize the world. This is like 6 years ago, right? And so this is why I sort of disagree a little bit with this panel. I've always thought that the perception about this is way off the reality in the data, right? And then you can dispute the data after the fact, but the basic thing is that now we've been waiting 5-6 years for seeing inflationary consequences of quantitative easing, and I'm still waiting. And I'll bet you if we meet next year, I'll still wait. It's not that we have a runaway inflation problem in the Western world. And it's for 5 years now. I mean, how long do we need to wait before either these guys change their opinion or it actually materializes? I bet you'll wait 5 years more.
Okay. Yeah, question right here and then one right behind. Yeah, great. A lot of questions. Wonderful. Please.
Creating fiat money is fantastic. So the central bank has bailed us out. That requires trust. Trust can go. Come the next crisis, what now?
So
Are central banks still trusted to bail us out, or will trust be destroyed? To me, it's a bit like the emperor's new cloak.
Okay, so what are 10-year treasuries and 10-year bonds trading on today? That's the problem, right? So basically, people are buying these things at negative interest rates. And you can say, well, that's crazy, and I agree. I think it's a bad trade to buy it. But it's not like trust is in short supply of fiat conscience right now. Otherwise, we have quite a good interest rate.
May I ask you a question? Is there a low interest rate junkie problem?
Or negative interest rates as in Switzerland. If you buy a Swiss government bond, you have to pay on that.
Everyone is forced to buy this crap. But I'm not talking about today.
This crap.
No, I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about 5-10 years, the next crisis hits. Are central banks printing more money, and are we still trusting that they can bail us out? Or do we lose, or bound to lose trust in what they do today because it didn't help currently because there's the next crisis, and they ran out of options?
How many of you have faith in what central bank policy is doing? Raise your hands. Look at this. 1, 2. My good friends right here have faith. The rest of you do not have faith. Now, what does this really tell us? For how many of you, if you do not have faith in central bank policy, how is that, how many for you, let me put it this way. Is that influencing your investment decisions, this lack of faith? Raise your hands. Look how many hands are going up here, okay? That is very revealing.
Can I put another sort of
Please.
follow-up question?
Yeah.
Okay, how many of you are acting on that and selling all your government debt positions?
How many of you are selling your debt positions, government debt positions?
Okay.
Raise your hands.
Well, you can't. Sorry, this is
So what is
interesting.
that? Are you buying cash? Is that not a government IOU? No, okay, go.
But Carsten, let's be honest. What alternative do the investors have?
No, that's fine. Right?
What alternatives do investors have?
No, but can I sort of...
Or real assets?
Yeah, let me just jump in here real quick. So, given all we've said, where do you think the best investment opportunities lay right now? Very quickly. 10, 20 seconds.
Equities.
What?
Equities.
Equities?
Yeah. Gold.
Yeah.
And emerging markets.
Patience, wait.
Wait.
That's on your horizon, I guess. But
No, that's the basic. No.
But no, basically, there's a lot of great investment opportunities out there. I mean, I still think something like residential property in the U.S. has ways to go.
Yeah.
Technology-intensive manufacturing.
Technology intensive. Okay. So there you have some of their ideas. It's interesting. I was at a conference recently, about the last 4 months, and where did most people see the opportunity? And there was a lot of sovereign wealth fund concentration there in the emerging equities. They thought was where the greatest opportunities lie, I think, over the next year. Yes, you have a question right here, please.
And for how long do you think does the euro still exist in its current form? And for how long do you think are we still able to pay in cash?
There's one back there.
Well, I think the euro has been changing form all the time, actually. If you think about the institutions and what the currency is and how it's run. When ECB today is not ECB 10 years ago. But my guess is that it will be around until I die, actually. I think that's not it.
Let me jump in here because it ties in slightly. As you're well aware, I mentioned it in my opening remarks, but there is an EU referendum that's going to happen in late June in the UK on Brexit, whether or not to stay in the EU. It is a momentous decision that is going to happen. It has huge ramifications for the UK and potentially huge ramifications for certain other European countries. And it ties into your question. How likely do you think that a Brexit is, Bob?
More likely than I would like to see.
Why?
I don't think there's a good rationale for evaluating whether or not Britain should stay in. It's a complex question, and I'm not sure that people are approaching it correctly.
Interesting. Yeah. Quick thoughts on Brexit.
We should look at what the bookies quote, and there it's relatively unlikely, and there's cash involved. You can actually lose some money or win some money. Don't look at the polls, because if you look at the polls, you might look at answers to questions like, do you dislike the EU? And the answer is yes, I also like it.
So you're betting on the certainty like the Scottish referendum.
I also think a Brexit is unlikely because of the uncertainty. President voters have to think about.
I joined the first voting here, which is, I think it's unfortunate. I think it's more likely than what people think. And it comes back to what the gentleman at the back said earlier. We are underestimating the psychology of the people. The people who are for Brexit are treated like half-brains, like stupid people, like populist people, like racists, like immigrant haters. So we even have, I've seen some BBC, some discussions where if you are a bit negative on it, you're almost like, why you have such views? I think that we are underestimating that all the pressure that we might exert right now might backfire on us.
The reason I'm raising this because obviously there's a huge amount of press within